We sedate her, rinse in her mouth, and then we'll put a speculum in her mouth. It'll hold that open while we work on her teeth. And we use two different types of floats typically on a horse. This one has got a diamond burr. We'll do the majority of the work with this. And then we reduce some of the sharper points with this. This is a carbide bit here. Some horses wear their teeth better, and so they'll go a couple years. But I would say all horses should be checked yearly, and the majority will need it every other year, if not yearly. Performance horses, a small amount of imbalance creates problems under the bit. So those horses need it more often. So this horse, this mare, has got some sharp points along the outside edge. These are enamel points. And then she's got some ulcers on her cheeks there that are, where the green is, just past my finger. Those are some ulcers where she's chewed her cheek up just a little bit. And then right here on the front, she's kind of ramping down there. That's a hook on the front of those teeth. The other problem this mare has is this tooth is, let's see, push on her. Right past my finger is a tooth that's depressed, and that corresponds to a tooth that's overgrown here on the bottom. We call that a wave complex, and that interferes with both the draw jaw when you're asking them to ride, but also when they're grinding, their jaw should grind in a circular fashion, so that jaw is not moving forward. So that's contributing more than the sharp points are contributing to discomfort. That's contributing to the weight problem and under saddle. So I do see a lot of horses with wave mouth, and the reason that happens is horse teeth are surrounded in enamel instead of covered completely like a human's teeth. And so if you get an enamel point or infolding on that and it starts to dig into the dentin of that tooth, you can cup it out in a hurry. So the way that they stay balanced is to have balanced enamel to oppose each other, and then they don't get that wave. So we'll be reducing that wave. We'll be taking these teeth down right here, that small amount of a hump. We'll be reducing that down level with the rest of the teeth, taking off the enamel points, and then that jaw should slide a lot easier. So we've taken these hooks down on the front of the teeth right here and put what we call a bit seat, which is bevel the front of this tooth slightly so that when the bit hits that tooth, it doesn't take an abrupt hit on that tooth. Let's see how high this tooth is. And that doesn't look like a lot, but I've actually had that fracture opposing teeth when that gets too high there. So that's preventing this horse from chewing and grinding up its food good.
I know that's a constant debate that I hear people not understanding the benefits of where the feed position area is as far as on the ground or up. And it would make sense just based on the natural, where the horse is typically grazing, that lower would do better. Jaw positioning and everything.
And they proved that. I attended a meeting and they actually did fluoroscopy, which is real-time x-ray, where you can actually see the horse's jaw move in real time. And this came out of Europe, this study, but they showed it with fluoroscopy, and they showed the horse at different positions with different feed. And it was amazing how much more movement there was when that horse's head was low.
Gotcha.
In this area, we have a lot of problem with sand, so I don't advocate feeding on the ground, but if you can feed in lower troughs,
Lower feeders, yeah.
yeah, low feeders makes a big difference. She's got a little bit of a diagonal mouth, which is not unusual. She's a little bit long on the top on this side, and if you look at the line between the central incisors, top and bottom, they should line up, and she's offset to the right just a little bit. So this horse is chewing more to the right, so she isn't getting a full motion through the whole range. So it doesn't take a lot to get this corrected. She's not offset much, but I've had horses that didn't have this addressed to where they got a severe diagonal mouth, and then that takes sometimes years to correct. This will correct with just today's dental work. The other question that I get a lot of times is why I don't use power floats with water. And I have had some that have water with them, and the thought is to cool the teeth off. Instead, I just move around her mouth continually, not staying on a tooth. Horses can perceive current that we don't even feel. And with every piece of equipment that I've tried with water, the horses were feeling current as they did that. And that's with the GFI, a main GFI, a separate one in that plug and in the machine themselves. You still, when you've got water and electricity around horse, bad idea. So lots of people use them. I just prefer to cut them dry and move around the mouth.
On average, if with frequent dental checkups and everything, I mean, how much farther can that extend the life of the horse?
Oh, I think years. I don't think we know the longevity of a horse yet, because when I started out practice 26 years ago, a horse that was in its 20s was an old horse. And I had a 38-year-old Appaloosa in here the other day.
Nice.
So at some point, we're going to find out what their true longevity is, but teeth and lameness would be the two things that take a horse out. And this horse is 38, still has functional teeth across the board.
So in closing, the biggest one is just get your horse's teeth filled. There's a lot of benefits to it.